Alright, good morning, Star Wars CCG players. Welcome to day 2 of the 15th MPC, where today we're going to be streaming game 1 of the top 16 between Chris Kelly and Timo Dusel. Chris Kelly, the 1 seed in his bracket, Timo, the 4 seed. Players are getting set up right now. Chris Kelly is playing, he is the chosen one. Timo is starting, this deal is getting worse all the time. Starting in the 2-2, I believe, as his site, the downtown plaza. Then playing slip sliding away to get the upper walkway for mobilization points, Endor Shield, and Imperial Enforcement. This is definitely an occupation deck, almost a port of Imperial Entanglements into the platform. We can see that Chris Kelly here is playing, he is the chosen one. Starting 3 effects, pretty standard. It's Walkling, Like My Father Before Me, and Insurrection. Immediately, Timo will pull the Executor. Chris Kelly will pull Don't Do That Again to suspend mobilization points. Timo will pull a couple Admirals. He's going to pull Ozzel and likely Piet. Chris Kelly's going to use an Anakin Skywalker Virtual to pull an Endor Shield, or to pull Princess Leia. Chris also playing the Goldenrod Shield, making sure anything that would be free is no longer free. Thank you, Justin, for checking in. So I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. I happened to play against Timo playing this deck last week in one of the open leagues. Very much a port from Imperial Entanglement, so he's going to set up Piet to the Executor Docking Bay. He's going to play multiple copies of They Must Never Again Leave This City to get a free Executor, which basically mirrors the Devastator from Entanglements. The Dark Deal objective also pulls your occupation for you and doesn't get it switched off if you flip back, like Imperial Entanglements would. So Timo here does have the first turn, Never Again Leave This City, so he'll pull Bespin with his objective. Oh no, from his hand. Pulls a Docking Bay, it's the Executor Docking Bay. Deploys the Executor for free, but actually 2 force. Has a quick Admiral Chernu. Is going to be able to drain for 2 right from the get-go. Ozzel's going to go to the Docking Bay, presumably to set up extra generation from mobilization points. And he does have the battle deployment in hand, so that's going to allow him to pull some combat vehicles. Hitco cannot play General Leia. We already saw Chris pull a Princess Leia Virtual, so I think that's going to be his Leia of choice, since that's pullable with the Anakin Skywalker Interrupt. So Chris is really going to have his hands full trying to keep occupation off the table while not being able to draw more than 1 Destiny at Bespin locations, while getting deploy +1 at all Cloud City locations. I think his best path is through space, especially if he can get there early. Taking over space is going to knock off that deployment penalty, it's going to knock off occupation. It just remains to be seen how much space Chris is going to be playing. Chris Kelly asking about the rule on mulligans. Makes me think his hand is not great. He does have Yoda's Hut from hand, Home 1 Docking Bay from hand. He's probably going to pull another Docking Bay, probably the Hoth Docking Bay. So Chris definitely has plenty of experience playing this Hitco. He's played it a bunch, played it at Worlds, but obviously since then it's changed a bit. So we'll see how he's able to adapt with it. New Hitco favored anymore against this type of dark side. It used to be versus IE. I would agree with that. I think this one's a bit tougher, just because he doesn't have access to General Leia to turn off those Admiral's Order. His character base is a bit more restricted from Hitco as it's been in the past. So we'll see what kind of thing he's running here. I think the way I would have played Hitco, if I were to play Hitco right now, is a Jedi Presence version. And I think that that's not going to be super effective against Timo and his Walkers and his Imperials with a bunch of forfeit, if that's how he's playing the deck. So I definitely think it's an uphill battle. Alright, so Timo drains for 2 after Chris pulls Battle Plan. Chris is going to lose Fly Casual from hand, which makes me think he already has a Tantive, and Luke's Lightsaber from reserve deck, which is probably not his only one. Oh boy, I can become famous now. Timo's going to pull Cloud City Occupation with his objective. Use Imperial Arrest Order to grab the Cloud City Docking Bay. Now he's only got 9 force to play with here, so he's going to be able to get a combat vehicle. Likely something like a Blizzard Scout 1 that he's going to deploy to Ozzel's site. I don't know that he's going to set up Occupation this turn. It depends what kind of guys he has in his hand. He'll need to deploy 2 guys, to actually 2 Bestmen, since he can't use Ozzel to set up the Occupation. So it's Tempest Scout 3 Virtual that goes to Ozzel's site. I'm looking at deck types played yesterday. I would have said that there was... I think we actually put in the chat, in the Slack chat prior to the weekend, an over-under on Hitcos being 2.5. Looks like we hit the over on that. There were 3 of them. So Chris Kelly played 1. I don't know about the other 2. Timo here is going to get... Where does he go? Corporal Oberk. Someone I wouldn't think he would play outside of ISB because he's not that great. But I guess he's a Destiny 3 2/2 guy with 2/5 for power or deploy forfeit. He puts Ozzel on board the ATST and then passes turn, saving 1 force. I probably wouldn't have drained if I were him last turn. Maybe he's just being a little more cautious than normal. I probably would have tried to set up the Occupation real quick and force Chris Kelly to do something, but Chris Kelly did save a bunch of force last turn. It's 3 force, and he was generating 14 this turn, so maybe he's playing it a little safer than I might have. And maybe that's why he's still in the event and I'm not. Alright, so Chris did have the Tantive in his hand. It's coming down to Bespin. And like I said, I think this is one of the best ways for him to kind of get in there early and not have to worry about Occupation. It's unlikely Timo runs a ton of space because that Executor is pretty tough to beat up, especially backed up with an Admiral and likely a Command in hand. Chris is going to follow with Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight and Princess Leia Virtual as pilots. This makes me think he might have Skywalkers in hand also, and hopefully a sense for any Imperial command. Leia only adds with Han or Vader. So he's drawing 1 destiny right now. It will be +1 because of, like my father before me. He also follows with Lando Scoundrel, using all of his force, but he does get to initiate battles for free, so that's fine. Projective Telepathy would be a blowout right here, though I don't think Timo plays it. So he does battle. Looks like Timo tried to deploy Tempest Scout 6 as a react, but that gets cancelled by an Odin combo. The Admiral's Order only affects sites related to the system, so he's still going to be able to draw 2 destiny. Chris does have the Skywalkers to add 2 more destiny, so he's drawing 4 currently. We'll see if Timo has a command or not. Justin, I expect you said everything correctly in that game. I did not play that last couple of turns well. Alright, so no command from Timo. So Chris is going to draw his 4 destiny. Draws Han Chewie the Falcon for 3. Jedi Loves Ahsoka. See You Around Kid for a 6. So that's 9. Sorry About the Mess for a 3 to get to 12, break the immunity, so he's going to get rid of the Executor this turn. And a Luke for a 7. So 19 total, 24 total power, 19 attrition. Timo draws a 4, so he's going to be 17 power, 4 attrition. Chris is likely to lose Lando. Timo going to have to lose everybody at the system. And stack a card on I Feel the Conflict. Yeah, I don't think that could have gone any better for Chris. So now he shuts off some of the activation from mobilization points again. He has a drain of 2 at Bespin. He's going to be able to reinforce the ship a little bit and shuttle down Leia and Luke. While Timo, I don't think, is playing much space other than that Executor. So he activates 10. Going to use his objective to take something into hand. I wonder if he's playing the Bespin Cloud City just as a way to cycle that with the downtown plaza. It does pull Occupation, so he has 2 copies of Occupation in hand. He's going to use Battle Deployment, grab a combat vehicle. Yeah, a couple Onyx Ties is not going to get the job done. Alright, so he deploys Blizzard 4 via the Admiral's Order. He's going to download an Imperial here, Grabs Darth Vader, Emperor's Enforcer. The non-Watcher Step. I didn't realize there was going to be so much Watcher Step played. I guess people are... I mean, it was a good deck. I played it at Worlds. I just didn't feel like it matched up well with map. Alright, so Timo here is going to spread out a little bit. Just try to start pouring in damage. Probably trying to get Diplo already. So he's going to set up with Vader and Blizzard 4 at the 2-2. Ozzel on Tempest Scout 3 at the docking bay. Draw a card or two. And likely save some force. Chris activating 15 now, with an extra one from Tantive. But only a 5-card hand, so he's not going to be able to do too much this turn. He's going to pay 3 to drain for 2. Timo has a couple cards he can lose, I'm sure. So he loses They Must Never Again Leave the City in one of the occupations. Chris getting his docking bay now. I think Watcher Step was the most played light side, actually, so that makes sense that there are not many non-Watcher Step games going on right now. Yeah, 7 Watcher Steps. Chris has Ahsoka in hand that he Jedi lived. He gets a universal deploy -1 now to Cloud City locations. Also has a Yoda as well. It's going to use Free Ride combo to try to reveal a random card in Timo's hand. Reveals Sergeant Elsek. Though he could have gotten that Tempest Scout 6 that we know he has. There is said Tempest Scout 6 deploying as a react after Chris initiates battle. Dylan's going to play Sneak Attack, also as a just action to put a card on top of his deck. Or if he has a second copy of the Admiral's Order, or another They Must Never Again Leave the City. Chris Kelly, of course, drawing a Jedi Luke for Destiny. Timo drawing a battle deployment that he put on top of his deck, which gets a -1. That'll be 5, but that's enough to break through Ahsoka's immunity. But not enough to win the battle, so Chris wins the battle. Timo has to stack a card, lose 6 attrition, so he's going to lose Ozzel while Chris loses Yoda. Oh. Sorry, that is Imperial Arrest Order combo, so it's only +1, so he does have to lose Ozzel and the other Tempest Scout 6. I might have gone with the non-combo. I don't know. You have to play the combo, right? Because it actually starts Secret Plans. That makes sense. I believe there were 2 old allies, Justin. And we had one match that didn't get played. We had somebody have a family emergency come up, so we don't have the deck list from that first match, or from the one player who didn't play, but I wouldn't be surprised if he played old allies as well, so you might have had 3 if everything had happened. Chris drawing a couple cards, putting a card back, playing our only hope to take the Death Star 2 site into hand. Not something we're going to see him deploy most likely. But then again, Timo's vehicles can't go there, so maybe he will hang on to it. Jeremy, the last time I saw Chris Kelly play a non-Hitco deck was in Texas Mini Worlds last year when I beat him, so maybe that's contributed to the fact that he just plays Hitco now, again. So Timo only activating 10. Is going to pay 3 to drain for 2 at the downtown plaza. Chris will lose a Blaster Deflection from hand and a Hear Me Baby Hold Together from reserve deck. That will actually move the Prophecy, which will give Timo 1 more generation, but also give Chris 1 more generation as well. Timo has Moff Gideon. We'll be able to deploy a Trooper for -2. That's generally all of his troopers are -2. Gets Sergeant Barrack. Has Sergeant Elsek in hand as well, which we knew. This feels like a slightly dangerous battle to me here, since Team only has 1 force left, 2 cards in hand, and has to pay maintenance costs on Blizzard 4. But he does battle. He's power 6 to Ahsoka's 4. Timo draws a 2 to be 8 power. Ahsoka draws a 1. So that's good for Timo, as he's able to use Sergeant Barrack to subtract from that 1. So as long as he doesn't draw a location, he's fine here. So draws Veers. He's going to take Veers into hand, cause a redraw. Enforcement is active. Draws Merrick Steel, the Emperor's Reach. Still a 1, still good enough. It's going to allow Timo to win the battle and retrieve with Enforcement, but not something that's going to happen with only 1 force and having to pay for Blizzard 4. So Chris, just down by 4 damage here, is going to peel a couple cards since he's immune to the attrition. Loses Hera, Our Only Hope, Projection, and Our Only Hope, all from reserve deck. Timo grabbing code clearance and paying for Blizzard 4. Chris Kelly gonna get 17 force this turn. We'll drain for 2 at Bespin. Team is going to lose a Dark Time for the Rebellion and Force Push, both from his deck. Chris has Cornhorn to the docking bay against the Lone Tempest Scout 3. Cornhorn potentially the victim of a trample here, which gets grabbed. Timo draws a 3, so not quite good enough. That does have a permanent pilot. Another 3 force for Saw Gareth to the upper walkway. And Timo's only got 2 cards in hand, and we know one of them is General Veers. I wonder if the other one could be a sneak attack to draw Destiny there. He's not in any danger, but he's going to have to lose a card to I Feel the Conflict, and actually because Chris draws a 6, he's actually going to lose 1 Overflow as well. So he'll stack the Tempest Scout that he drew for Trample Destiny, lose Iroll from reserve deck, and then lose the Tempest Scout at the site. Also going to battle the upper walkway with Ahsoka and Saw. Draws a 4 for Destiny, so he's going to be power 11, and he's going to have 7 attrition there, currently. Timo draws a 3. He's going to use Sergeant Barrack here to subtract 4. So he will have 3 attrition, but he does win the battle. Chris will have 3 attrition as well. I probably would have put Saul, after that trample, I probably would have put Saul to the docking bay as well, just to try to do a little overflow on the ATST, because that would have been 4 more power. So that would have been 5 overflow, and then you could just move Saul over to Ahsoka after that. Chris using 1 force to consolidate his guys at the docking bay. Who is on Tantive? It is Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and Princess Leia. The 2 of them and a Lando Scoundrel and a timely Skywalker's Interrupt took out the Executor. Chris drawing a bunch of cards, draws back up to 11 in his hand. Puts a card on his force pile, and he'll pass there, saving 2 with 20 in life force. Timo with 24 in life force, but only 2 in hand. And obviously a bit behind on board. So Timo will get 11 force this turn, gets the extra 1 from Prophecy. Chris relocating the Prophecy to his docking bay that he controls currently. And that Our Only Hope will get grabbed. I don't love that grab, but I understand it. I mean, we already saw him lose 2 of them. This is a 3rd copy. He probably only runs 4, so he might hook a 2nd one. But I might try to get something a little better. Although Timo might just be in diff saving mode and trying to grab anything used at this point. Timo does pay 3 to drain for 2 at the downtown plaza. Chris loses Escape Pod and Anakin Skywalker from hand. And the Prophecy gets moved back to the downtown plaza. And Chris will immediately retrieve that Anakin into hand with Prophecy, using the once per game. Looks like Timo is not deploying anything with his 2-card hand, just moving to consolidate at the site with the Prophecy at the downtown plaza. So moving Barrack and Elsek over there to join Vader and Blizzard 4. And then Timo will draw some cards, build up a hand, and pay for Blizzard 4. Alright, so Chris starting this turn with 20 in life force, has 17 available activation. Doesn't quite use all of it, so he activates 15 to add to the one he already had. We'll drain for 2 in space and 1 at the docking bay, moving Prophecy in the process. Timo losing Trample from hand, Imperial Command from used pile, and Merrick Steel from reserve deck. If you guys haven't seen, there is a multi-stream available. You don't have to just listen to me drone on here. I can put the link in chat if anybody doesn't have it. Looks like Kendall's streaming a game, the PC page is streaming a game, and Casey is streaming a game. Alright, so Chris playing Obi with Saber to the Downtown Plaza. Well, now I know you're lying to me, Justin, because nobody likes my voice. But thank you. So with Chris saving 4 in his reserve deck this turn, that makes me think that he has probably a Jedi Levitation in hand. Timo's going to cap out at about, 17 plus a Destiny. Call it a 4, so 21. Obi's going to be able to cover 13 of that himself. So you probably need one more person here for forfeit to ensure you don't take any overflow. But you will start to kind of chip away at that little stack that Timo has going on. You can swing at probably Barrack and just get rid of that whole thing going on. Maybe swing at Vader if you're feeling a little saucy. That, or I can see him shuttling down someone like Leia to the Downtown Plaza, where she'll add a Destiny versus Vader. Or even Luke, he's pretty good. So Leia getting her blaster rifle, which makes me think she's coming down at the end of this turn. Justin pointing out that Timo does not run too many guys, and that seems right to me. It's one of the reasons why I think attacking into the ship early was the right play, just because you, if you're able to get a battle through like he did, he's not going to have a lot to replace it. And I think he relies a bit on enforcement to get some of those guys back, but that hasn't been active for most of this game. So Kanan Jarrus also came down in space. That's a pretty good include, I think, just because you can knock out, like, even if he didn't have the Skywalkers and Timo did have the command, you would still be able to knock out the immunity to attrition of the Executor. And then he shuttles down Leia, who has her blaster who can shoot at vehicles, I believe, right? Yep, so he could be able to shoot Blizzard 4 even. But I think far more likely he's going to shoot Barrack, so that Barrack doesn't do any of the shenanigans that he normally does. He saved 4 force. He's going to use one of them right now to retrieve a card with the Walkling. Yeah, and Finalizer as well. And it's one of the ways you can kind of get around the fact that you can't play something like Padme anymore, or something like Rey, or I guess you could never play Anakin, but something that could add to attrition or add to your total destiny. Dylan using Battle Deployment to deploy Blizzard 2 from reserve deck. We know he has a Veers as well, so I would expect to see Veers pilot that. And so he's looking at 26 and 2 Destinies right now, versus Chris's 8 power, but a boatload of forfeit and 2 Destiny. And a gun that could shoot somebody lost. So Coarse and Rough and Irritating comes down. 2 cards will get stacked on top of that are Blizzard 4 and Corporal Jalosin. So when Timo battles, he will be able to take a card off of there to prevent Chris from drawing more than 1, but still will be able to draw 2 with General Veers. And he does battle here. He will pull a card. Pulls Corporal Jalosin. We'll see what kind of tricks Chris has here. Yeah, we haven't seen a clash. We haven't seen a sorry about the mess. Well, first he's going to swing at Vader. So we won't see either of those against Vader. I guess we do see a clash, but it's a weapon destiny. So a 3 and a 3 will not hit. But Chris does have the Jedi Lev. He checked his destinies last turn, so he should know that whatever combination should be able to hit him, right? So draws a 3 and a 5 that hits Vader. So Vader will be forfeit 0. This last destiny is the last one he should know, so he should be able to... We'll see if he can shoot at Blizzard 4 with it, or if he's just going to have to shoot at Barrack with it. So he's actually going to shoot Blizzard 2. He's going to play Sorry About the Mess to add 3 to the Destiny. Blizzard 2 is defense value 8. And he has a 6 with Luke Jedi Knight. So 9 is greater than 8. So Blizzard 2 will be immediately lost. That's not bad. So now Timo will be at 17 and 1 Destiny, while Chris is at 8 and 1 Destiny, but Timo will still get to use Barrack to subtract. Alright, so Timo's Destiny is a 2, and we see that he does play Onyx or Jendon in Onyx 1 as another ship. So draws a 2, he's going to be 19 power. He's not going to have to stack anything on if I feel the conflict, which is good. Chris draws a 5, so he's going to be 13 power for the moment with 5 attrition. Barrack is going to draw 2 reduce, and it's going to be a 4. So 19 to 9. Timo is chipping away here a bit. I mean, Chris likely to lose Obi here and maybe 2 cards from hand, I think is the best way to play that. Timo has to lose Vader, who is lightsabered, which flips he is the chosen one back. Yeah, Chris losing 2 force from hand. It's going to be the Chasm walkway for one of them. Timo has to choose a Biker Scout to lose here. Probably just lose Elsa because he has the Jalosin in his hand. Instead, we'll lose Blizzard 4. I don't know how I feel about that. I probably just would have lost Elsic, stacked Barrack on Blizzard 4 and moved over. Chris losing another Luke from his hand, and then we'll lose Obi from the site. Timo using 2 force to move away. He does have the other Blizzard Force stacked on Coarse and Rough, so maybe he's thinking he can grab that during the inevitable battle during Chris's turn and redeploy it next turn. Chris has another Seer on Kid to go grab something out of his force pile. And then an Anakin Skywalker to take something into hand but doesn't find anything. Timo commenting that he didn't realize there was a low destiny in that deck. So maybe what's in Chris's reserve deck is not great. Oh, normally I'm over here, aren't I? Should move myself so I don't block any of the shields. Alright, so Chris will start this turn with 21 in life force, able to activate 16. Oh, he's going to use Don't Do That Again to shuffle his deck. Chris only 3 cards in hand. But he is going to drain for 2, 2, and 2 this turn. Timo's sitting at 13 life force, 6 in hand. That's going to put a damper on anything else he can really do. Alright, so Chris draining for 2, 2, and 2, like I said. Timo losing Tarkin's Orders from hand. Tempest got 1 from reserve deck. Lieutenant Arnett from reserve deck. Battle Deployment from hand. Sneak Attack from hand. One thing I did just realize is that Elsic is only ability 1, so he's only got 3 ability at this site. Really makes me question the losing the Blizzard 4. Last card lost is a Imperial Command from reserve deck. It also makes me question losing the Sneak Attack. You would be able to add a Destiny there. Chris getting to peek at the top 3 cards, so it gets an extra card in the hand. Probably taking a character, just getting any low Destiny out of the deck right now. certainly see him playing another Obi or someone else we haven't seen. Is there a Rebel Han that's playable? Well, Captain Utani comes down. He's got a gun. Captain Cassian comes down. He's going to be able to cancel the Destiny, but it's not going to matter at the moment. That's kind of the thing about this Hitco deck is like, everybody says it can't play good characters. It can play good characters. These are all good characters, but sometimes your hand is just going to be like Utani, Cassian, Hera, and that feels bad. Okay, so this is something I haven't seen in a long time. We have a battle where neither side is drawing Battle Destiny. It's always fun. Chris is 7 power to Timo's 3. Chris is going to be able to shoot somebody. So he's going to be able to shoot Sergeant Barrack here to make him forfeit 0 and make him lost. That 4 will hit. And then barring any other interrupts. Okay. So Timo does have a second sneak attack in hand to draw Destiny. Chris is going to play Coin a Mercenary to take something in hand, but finds nothing, just putting cards back. Timo taking the Blizzard 4 off of Coarse and Rough. And drawing a 2 for Battle Destiny, which will stick. So Timo is down 7 to 5. We'll have to stack a card on I Feel a Conflict. We'll have to lose Barrack and then 2 other cards as well. While Chris will have to lose 2 attrition. I don't know why you didn't just cancel the Destiny at this point. You can just throw away Obi, I guess. And cause 2 more force loss and effectively seal the game. I think Timo is just going to draw up here because otherwise it gives an opportunity for Chris to put back some cards. And it also keeps cards out of Timo's lost pile. Chris moves Cassian over to join Leia. We're not going to see him draw any despite the fact that he has 0 cards. He's going to retrieve a card, attempt to retrieve a card, which I think Timo will deny with the backside of the objective. He does not. No, he does. Okay. Please check the Drew MHT game. Is that not being streamed? Alright, so Timo activating everything here. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just pass through until draw and just draw. I think that saves him some cards in this match. So it looks like Chris Kelly's going to win this game by 22. Because he has no cards in hand, nothing to put back. So 22 with 16 in lost pile to Timo's 29 in lost pile. Okay, so he drew 3 cards and then stopped. But it still has all of his force active. Is he trying to trick Chris Kelly into drawing some more cards? Somehow? So Chris is going to force drain for 6. Well, we'll see what he does. He's going to force drain for 2 at Bestman. Timo going to respond with Onyx 2 to block that force drain. This is just putting more cards in his lost pile that he doesn't need. Chris will only drain for 5 because of non-efficient draining. I have no idea what Chris Kelly's playing for Darkside. Chris is going to look at the top 3 cards of his deck, take one into hand. Maybe he did trick Chris Kelly into taking one more card out of his deck. No, he'll put it right back with, like my father before me. Chris not battling, just going to try to retrieve a card, which will get canceled. Timo's going to put a Jedi Luke out of play, so Luke is out of play. That's good. Probably just a little too late. No, Mike, it's too early for hams. I mean, it's not too early for hams, but I have to run later, so I'll water for now. Timo now drawing up. So it will be 22 for Chris Kelly with 15 in lost pile to 32 in lost pile for Dylan, for Timo. Alright, I will go check on that other game. I'm sure Chris will ping me when they want to play again. Alright, so we're looking at MHT versus Drew. Somebody's in here. Alright, so Drew playing Map against Matt Harrison Trainer playing Yavin 4 Operations. We see that Drew has Search and Destroy in effect, but otherwise is not doing anything on the ground because both drain sites are projection. Oh, I guess he drains for 1 at the Starkiller base site. Are you sure Jeremy's not streaming this, Mike? Jeremy's in here. I wonder if he's just not on the multi-Twitch link. But we'll check in on this game. Drew has a ton of people aboard Finalizer. Looks like Hux, Dr. E, Pride, Mitaka, The Shuttle, Min Kainu, Phasma, and 2199, I think? Yeah. That site looks like, oh look, I'm at that site. Or at that system. So it looks like Luke with a Rebel flight suit aboard Red 5, Wedge aboard BB-8. Who's this? Tarn Myson aboard Red 6, and Kincan aboard Gray Squadron 1. Also has a Falcon with Ray and Solo at the Starkiller base, and Snap at Yavin with Haven. Looks like 13 in Life Force for Drew, 12 in Life Force for Matt, though he will retrieve one right now. Yeah, nothing's good against Tarn. Tarn's good. Alright, so it looks like Hux went to pilot the shuttle. And the shuttle is going to move, probably going to split up. So the shuttle's going to go somewhere, and Finalizer's going to go somewhere. I would expect that shuttle to go to Starkiller base, and the Finalizer to go to Yavin. Maybe the other way around. Yeah, Finalizer to the Starkiller base. Shuttle to Yavin makes sense. There's 6 people in here now, so I assume someone is streaming it. Dan is also in here too, so someone's streaming it. So Search and Destroy seems to be doing the majority of the work here, and then the pilot X-Wing seems to be doing the work for light side. I'm going to check in on Chris Kelly, see if they're getting ready to go. I'm also going to take 2 minutes to run to the bathroom, fill up my water. So I will be right back, and we will get game 2 of Chris Kelly and Timo up when it comes up. Alright, so we're back here. We're coming in with game number 2, which I will update stream information when we see it. Alright, so it looks like Chris Kelly playing I Want That Map, and Timo on Diplo. I think this is going to be interesting for Timo to try to win this game by 22 to tie or 23 to advance. Diplo is a deck that's going to put a lot of cards on the table to set itself up. Map, a deck that is going to do a lot of quick damage, probably a shuttle right to Tatooine on turn 1, potentially. Alright, so map here, starting the Starkiller base as its episode 7 site, along with the You Know What I've Come For starting interrupt to get the landing site, Bow to the First Order, and the Dead Speak. I think this is the most common version of the start we've seen. Well, alright, it's the most common version that we as a team are playing, and so therefore when Chris plays it as well, and I think we saw somebody play it as well yesterday, that is now the most common version. Timo, on the other hand, starting strike planning. I must be allowed to speak and walking, so we'll see a lot of use pile pulls this game. Timo played an all wings combo to get the Falcon right away, so that's a good start for him. So he'll be able to set up that Falcon General Cavalry in turn 1, deliver of the plans. Chris gets 8, does not pull a shuttle right away. He's going to deploy the 2-0 Emperor site. So Chris deploys the Sith Throne, Timo pulls General Cavalry. Starkiller shield control site comes from hand. Also pulling General Leia with strike planning. Looks like Chris didn't deploy anything on turn 1. I would have thought he wanted to put pressure on Timo, or at least play the Emperor, so maybe he activated the Emperor, maybe he activated the shuttle. Maybe didn't have a Kylo in hand. He's drawing almost his entire force pile, so drew up to 14 cards. Saves 3 for next turn, so we'll have 15 to work with next turn. Timo activating 8 on turn 1. Looking for his tractor beam. God, that sounds like a terrible deck to play against. Alright, so Timo has Alderaan from reserve deck with his objective. I must be allowed to speak. He's going to pull a farm. He's going to deploy General Calrissian and the Falcon, which gets barriered by Chris. So we will not have a turn 1 delivery, but should have no problem delivering on turn 2. Barrier does go through, doesn't get grabbed. Looks like in other games, Jared Napolitano won game 1 as light side by 7 over Adam Trunzo. Chris Werfs won game 1 by 18 over Justin Miyashiro. Looks like Timo just drew a couple cards and ended his turn, saved 1 force. Chris activating 13, has 15 to work with this turn. Tries to deploy a Star Killer base sniper, probably just checking his reserve deck. I would imagine he doesn't play a second one. So presumably because he stopped drawing with 3 cards left in his pile, Chris found what he was looking for when he was drawing, so we'll probably see an Emperor come down. I'm sure we can see maybe a Snoke to the shield control room, or a Kylo probably to the farm, along with a Trooper for backup so he can drain for the full amount. So Emperor comes down, Timo immediately pulls Do or Do Not. Emperor draws the bottom cards. Maybe he didn't find everything he was looking for. And Chris just drawing again. So I don't know what specifically he's looking for here. I don't know that this is the way I'd be playing this up 22. He draws up to 18 cards, leaves 5 in force pile, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him draw the bottom card as well again. That tractor beam really hard to find, apparently. Alright, Timo's going to activate 11. Try to deploy a Tatooine site, but there are none in reserve deck, so Chris gets to see the whole deck. Adds Bail Organa to the Tantive 4. Is going to add Solo on the Falcon as well. We'll ship dock and move the droids to the Falcon. We'll make his move over, deliver the plans. Take a card into hand from reserve deck. Is going to attempt to move the Falcon back with its additional move, but Chris Kelly is going to play a Gravity Shadow instead. Draws a 4, so the Falcon will not be able to move back this turn. Then we'll draw a couple cards. So Chris with a 17 card hand and 19 force to work with next turn. Has not yet used Val to pull the finalizer, but I imagine he has it in hand. Otherwise he would, or we'll see him do it very soon. It's going to be able to drop that finalizer for, what, 12 force, and then maybe a Hux and it's not Resdox anymore, it's PV. Maybe we'll see Overwhelmed on the Tantive. And then with Tatooine being the only system location, it's going to be tough for Dylan to flip or set up Celebration. Alright, so activates 15. Alright. Activates 14. Timo's going to use Quite a Mercenary to take Chewbacca Protector into hand. The finalizer will come out to Tatooine for 13 force. Timo has an Antilles maneuver to deploy in Captain Antilles, which is super, super on brand. Even though it's the wrong Antilles. To the Tantive, so that will get him a Battle Destiny, or an extra Battle Destiny, since Bale was already adding one, and some immunity. Chris also has Captain PV, and then deploys Coarse and Rough and Irritating, stacking a Stormtrooper Patrol and Supreme Leader Snoke. Patrol's interesting. I wonder if he's running like an old school strategic reserves to cancel force drains, or if he's just like, it's a good card, it's a good trooper, and you already run a couple troopers and trooper assaults. Chris also has First Strike. So in this battle, how it's going to go down, it looks like it's going to be 13 power to 8 power. Both sides get 1 Destiny. Timo won't be able to play anything, any interrupts or anything like that. He does initiate the battle. Timo pulled the simple trick shield, so Chris can't retrieve. But Timo does have to lose one force, loses a Might of the Republic from hand. Chris is going to take a card into hand. Take Snoke into hand with Coarse and Rough. So each side drawing one destiny, can't be modified. Chris draws a 6, which I think is going to get rid of everybody. Alright, because Bale is 5, Antilles is 4. So not everybody, but both pilots. While Timo draws a 2, which is not going to crack the finalizer's immunity of 8. So Timo will have to lose Ramus Antilles and Bail Organa, but does get to keep the Tantive. So not terrible, but certainly not ideal. So Team activates 11, deploys the Cantina from reserve deck and Mos Eisley from hand. So both players with a ton of force now, 15 for Timo, 17 for Chris Kelly. So General Lay is going to go to the Cantina. That'll get a use pile pool, where that must be allowed to speak. Chewbacca will follow at a reduced rate, and another use pile pull. Chris draw any cards last turn? No. Timo also has Owen and Baru, who go free to the farm, which allows him to deploy Celebration. Timo uses 1 to bring the Falcon back. And this forfeit trick only works while they have the plans, right? Yeah. Who is the resistance agent? Luke is the resistance agent. Well, I guess technically there is no resistance agent. Chris playing a command during his turn to take Hux into hand, which means he will not have it available to play during this turn if he wants to battle. He does still have the second pull off of Coarse and Rough, though. Activating 17. So Timo's got to watch his reserve deck numbers here. He lost game 1 by 22, so sitting there with 27 in reserve deck and 8 in hand, he needs to do a ton of damage to be able to win this game. He's set up to do drains of 2, 1, and 1 next turn and retrieve 3, but that's only if Chris does absolutely nothing. So we'll see what Chris can do to stop that from happening. Alright, so Chris is going to follow with Kylo's shuttle to Tatooine. Kylo's going to come from hand to deploy on the shuttle. Did not try to deploy Kylo with the shuttle. Wonder if he just has all of his Kylos in hand. Knew there wasn't one in reserve deck. So Chris gets a bow pool with Kylo. We know he has Hux in hand, so he's going to be able to get a second bow pool. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to set up something like lateral damage overwhelmed and just put everything back in use pile and canceled celebration. He's got the one pull from Kylo. Deploys Snoke. He's gonna get a bow pull there. Hux comes down on the finalizer for 1 and a third bow pool this turn. There's lateral damage for the Falcon. So the Falcon will be power 0. I mean, maybe you just don't even overwhelmed. Maybe you just battle at power 19 to 5. Kylo gets a lightsaber. I think Overwhelmed is coming, though. Because Chris can set up Overwhelmed and then land the shuttle at either Mos Eisley or the farm or the Dune Sea even. And then be able to flip because he'll control 2 locations. No, he's going to battle instead. So battling at power 19 plus a power destiny plus a destiny to Timo's 5 power. That battle means that Timo will lose 1 to Snoke and then lose a second one to First Strike. He does lose Barrier, and you've got a lot of guts. both from reserve deck. Power Destiny is a 3. And then Actual Destiny is a 5. So it's going to be 27 for Chris. Timo's going to play All Wings to spin a 6. That may get sensed here. It does in fact get sensed, though Chris will have to lose the sense and 2 cards. Loses, you know what I've come for in Sith Fury. So Timo instead will draw a 3 for Battle Destiny, which will get close called and subtracted. Though Solo will use his once per game to play Heading for the Medical Frigate to bring that back to a 1. And Chris has no immunity, so he's going to have to lose something like Snoke off of the shuttle. Chris does win the battle, so Kylo will cause 2 force loss. Timo loses It's a Hit and It's a Hit from use pile. But he is facing down 21 battle damage, so Hux actually gets forfeited. Timo has to lose General Calrissian, R2, and 3PO, and we'll have to lose Solo or Tantive as well. He's going to play Where's Han to get back General Calrissian. So he loses Tantive, so he has a lateral damaged Falcon that is holding on for dear life at Tatooine. Timo will activate 14. He's going to use the Mos Eisley text to separate his guys, so he'll be able to drain for 2, 1, and 1. Chris losing Thrawn and Command, both off reserve deck. A Sense from reserve deck. And a Command from reserve deck. Moves Chewbacca over to join Leia again. We're going to get a revert here. I don't know how far we went back. It was to retrieve 3 instead of retrieve 2 with Celebration. Gets back Tantive, Where's Han, and R2-D2, and C-3PO. Then moves Chewie over to join Leia. And deploys Luke, Rebel Scout. We'll get a used pool, but I must be allowed to speak. Just Lando left for that used pool, which he does have in hand still. Couple more results coming in. Looks like Joe Olsen won game 1 over Chris Hull by 17. Pat Johnson won game 1 versus Vikram by 4. Don't know what happened in the Drew game. Or if they're still going, I don't know. Alright, so it looks like Timo took Tantive 4 with his used pile pull. It's going to use 4 to deploy Tantive 4 at the Starkiller base. Deploy General Calrissian to the Falcon, and then move that to Starkiller base as well. So he gives up Celebration, but he does flip his objective. So he will be +3 total destiny in all battles now. And he moves Owen and Baru to the Dune Sea. So not a bad turn. Sets himself up for some damage via a Cantina Shuffle. And drains at the Starkiller base, which I don't think Chris is going to be able to move to. So he's relying on something like Steadfast if he plays it. Maybe like a Zuckuss or something, but that Zuckuss isn't good enough to take out that pile. So Timo will probably have a system for the rest of the game. Now it's just a matter of if he can do enough damage to Chris, who has 18 life force and 12 cards in hand now, 17 life force. While Timo has 25 in life force and 5 in hand. And a reminder, he lost the last game by 22. Yeah, Eric, I assume at this point that Chris has a handful of troopers and a trooper assault. Should be able to do some things here. Yeah, as long as he has enough to draw Battle Destiny. Chat pointing out that First Strike is on table and Timo has no force save, so he won't be able to play a Hujix if he has it. And then FN, whatever number he is, will be able to cancel Owen and Baru's text, so that they won't be able to draw a Battle Destiny. So they're going to be power 4, forfeit 5 if that happens. And I believe Chris still has a used pile pull with Phasma. So if Phasma comes down, he can find that trooper pretty easily, as long as Phasma's last. Or whatever missing piece he's missing. So down comes Mara. Mara will be able to make Owen and Baru forfeit 0. Dopeld's going to go to the farm for some reason that I'm probably missing. Okay, so that's going to get reverted. Chris clicking the wrong sandy looking site. And then Dr. E also to the Dune Sea. So without that trooper, looks like this battle could be it's still kind of bad, right? Because you're going to have to lose one to First Strike. Do you lose one with Snoke too? No. Lose one with First Strike. Owen and Brew are going to get hit. Well, maybe not, depending on Chris just looked at his reserve deck and is not happy with what he saw. Timo telling him not to take the risk and not to attack. I like it. I hope he does it. So if he does battle and is able to hit, which I don't know what the likelihood of that is, he could be 13 to 4, effectively 7 with the +3 to Destiny, so it would be 13 to 7, and just a difference in Destinies. But I guess if they're not that good, maybe you just hold off and do nothing. He uses 2 to play a First Order Stormtrooper. And we'll initiate battle. It does have a Trooper Assault. Chris is actually going to retrieve a card. Retrieves an Imperial Command. Team is going to lose Wedge in Red Squadron 1 from reserve deck. Has the Trooper Assault to make that Stormtrooper power +1. Has a Dark Strike to add 3 to his total weapon destiny, so he should hit Owen Emperor here, regardless of what he draws. Draws a 0. And a 2. So that will hit Owen and Brewer. They will be forfeit 0. So it's going to be 17 to 7 plus whatever the difference is in destinies. So not looking great for Timo, who has to win by 22. It may not have that many cards at the end of his turn. Chris draws a 5 for Battle Destiny. Timo draws a 2, which will become a 5. So 22 denying a difference of 13. So Timo's going to have to take 13 overflow here. I think that's pretty much going to be game, yeah. Dylan does concede, so Chris Kelly's going to move on to the round of 8. As far as I can tell, the first player to do so. A good run for Timo. He got past his first round opponent, John Werner, and then past 5 seed Matt Lutz, but ran into the number 1 seed in Chris Kelly. Thank you guys for watching. I'm probably not going to be streaming for the rest of the day, but I did put the link to the multi-Twitch in chat. You can check out any of those streamers or just the multi-Twitch. Otherwise, stay safe. Have a good day.